These are the plaintiffs, Stephen Stein and Craig Marcus. Stephen says he rented an apartment to the defendants and they simply stopped paying the rent. He ended up telling them to get out. They did without incident, but still owe him big time for unpaid rent. And that's why they're suing for the $3,000 they're owed. These are the defendants, Laura Lewis, Ian Bailey, and Lee. Laura says she and her husband Ian left the apartment. Her mom, Lee, continued to live there. Lee says the plaintiffs run an escort service, and that's a world she knows nothing about. She thinks they're confused about all the cash they collect because she paid them in full, in cash. Doesn't owe them anymore, and they all think the judge is going to agree. They're accused of running out on rent.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiffs rented an apartment to the defendants, and they just stopped paying rent. But the defendants say the plaintiffs run an escort service, and I have no idea why that's relevant. It's the case of let me escort you into court.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Stephen Stein
Yes, ma'am.
and Craig Marcus.
Yes.
You are suing on behalf of your corporation, SHS Capital, a limited liability corporation. You are suing Laura Lewis, Ian Bailey, and you've asked to be referred to only as Lee. Okay, for $3,000 in rent and late fees that you say are due to you by these three tenants that they have not repaid. Tell me what's going on.
Well, on February 6th, 2013, defendants entered into a lease agreement to rent the lower level of a two-family home in Brooklyn, Connecticut. They lived in the home for 1 year for the term of the lease, and in the course of the year, they fell further and further behind in their payments. At the end of the lease, they owed a certain amount of money, and they left. And to recoup
Their lease was supposed to go until what date?
February 6, 2014.
Okay, there's no dispute about that, right? And the three of you signed that lease, correct?
Correct.
All right, and then what happened is during the course of that year, two of them fell off, you two.
Yes.
And when did you guys move out?
August.
And why did you move out?
We had gotten into a...
I need you to switch with her if you're going to do the talking.
We had gotten into an argument over money. I was out of work, switching jobs, had kidney stones, a hernia, medical issues, and I couldn't pay my bills on time.
So you weren't contributing? What about you? Were you contributing?
No.
What were you doing? Switch again. What were you doing that you weren't working?
I don't have a job because I have anxiety issues that.
I have anxiety issues too. You know, I mean, every single job is off limits to you. How long has it been since you've worked? You mean you're on disability, you're collecting disability is what you mean? No, you don't mean that. So how long has it been since you've worked?
2 years.
Really? What do you do all day?
Sit at home.
How's that working out? That doesn't give you anxiety?
No.
What do you do when you sit at home?
I watch you.
I don't even know where to go on that.
She does.
Honey,
She
I
does.
want you to watch me, but I want you to either DVR me or I want you to watch me and then go to work. It's one of the two. But I mean, you're young. You're so young.
I'm in the process of trying to find a
Process
job.
of what?
at
It's
the
been
moment.
2 years, honey. What are you waiting for? How long have you two been together?
3 years?
Do you have children?
No.
No.
Okay, so it's not like you're staying home to help. I mean, that's not even, I don't know how you can feel good about.
Oh, I don't feel good about
If
it.
you don't feel good, don't you think that you need to stop the paralysis and take that first step and do something that's going to make you feel productive and, you know, right? So you go out and face your fears. Geez, 2 years. That's a long time, hon. All right, so apparently the arguments are between the paying member of the house and the non-paying members of the house, right?
Correct.
All right, so they move out in August, but you continue to live there. They hadn't paid in how long?
Well, it was for a while. There was.
I had been paying, but it was sporadic.
Okay, how long had they not been paying?
It was for even when we agreed.
They were in the hole for how much by the time that they left?
A few grand. You know, I mean, it was
a few
It
grand.
was a
So
lot.
it's
it
a lot.
didn't.
All right, so
I mean,
who
It was
was
only a
picking up?
couple $100
Okay, I don't want to
that
cause another
owed you.
problem between you guys. Who was picking up the slack then during that
I
time?
was doing
You were.
it.
You
I
were
was
picking
doing
up
it.
the slack. All right. So then comes August, September. They haven't paid August. They haven't paid September. You pay August. You pay September. You pay whatever backlog they have. October you pay? When do you stop paying because you just can't handle it anymore?
Well, I paid $800 for November.
Okay, is that accurate?
She stopped paying, she paid $1,200 in September for August, and she paid a little bit for September, but she paid her October bills in November for $800 instead of $1,200, and she paid $480.
I'm sorry, are you disputing that she paid, the rent is $1,200, she says she paid $800. You're disagreeing with him though, aren't you?
Your Honor, I have a list broken down.
Let me see your little chart. How would you pay your rent?
Thank you, sir.
We paid lots of
Cash or check or money order? Do you have proof of payment of rent?
No.
Oh, that's a mistake.
Right.
They never gave us receipts.
Then don't give him the cash.
Business.
Then don't give him the cash. It's your cash. If your cash is in this hand and they won't give you a receipt, you don't release the cash. You're the guy who's going to have to prove up whether you paid or not. It's your best interest. You're the driving force behind whether that receipt is. And if they don't have a receipt book, it's very simple. You grab the nearest roll of toilet paper and the nearest crayon. You've heard me say this before, haven't you? And you have them write down. So if you've heard me, why are you watching me so much and not learning anything? Then you have them write down, I hereby acknowledge receiving $800. Then there's no question. You have your little piece of toilet paper, you put it in your pocket, and then you got proof. Right.
So if a landlord refuses to give you a receipt for rent when you pay cash, what do you do?
I'm going to write my own receipt so that I can have proof that I...
Yeah, but what if he doesn't sign it?
If he doesn't sign it, I still have my own proof for my copy and give it to him.
Yeah, but that's just your... That's not going to protect
It's
you.
not going to protect me.
No, what do you do?
I wouldn't pay him personally.
There you go.
Until
But then the problem is, then he says he's going to evict you if you don't pay rent.
That's a problem then.
So what do you do? Come on, this is easy.
Then you take him to court.
No, come on, what do you do? This is easy.
I think I'll try.
A money order. Going inside the courtroom.
According to you, they owe $320 in damages, which you don't mention that in your lawsuit. Where are what $320 in damages? That represents what?
They had cats, and I have a receipt from our crew that went over there, and the receipt says clean and repair, all damage, shampoo and deodorized carpet, repair damage to cabinets.
Okay. Do you have pictures of it?
No.
I do.
Okay. Do you have
Yes.
pictures, and did you have
Well,
cats?
I didn't know he was going to, but I have pictures of every single part of that house because when me and the taller one,
Right.
had an agreement with, I can't get their names, like I didn't,
I think that one's Craig.
I was dealing
With Craig.
Craig.
Okay.
And when I was preparing to move out, he wanted this, and this done, and I did it. And I took pictures of every single thing, and he had also said to me that
Can I
he
see the pictures?
spoke to this one saying that,
Okay, that one has a name
Sorry.
also. It's-
that I didn't owe anything. He had talked to him. I had given them the
When was
money,
the
and I
first time you
didn't.
mentioned $320 in damage? Because, you know, when you have somebody living there, sometimes you have to shampoo the carpet afterwards.
No,
I mean, I
I did all
understand if
that.
it's extensive, but this is, by the way, this is a piece of paper with writing on it. This is how you're justifying $320 deduction?
That's-
This is not how it's done. Is this your first time in court? That's not how it's done. You bring me a legitimate receipt. If you're hiring somebody who's fly-by-night, don't charge legitimate prices. And number two, you bring me pictures to prove that you had to deduct because there was damage. You haven't brought me a single thing. Do you have a telephone?
Yes, I
Does
do.
does your phone take pictures?
Yes, it does.
How hard would it have been to take pictures of the damage so you can prove that you're entitled to take something of this for damages?
Well,
Yes, sir.
The cabinets were broken when we moved in.
Correct. If you start here and you just keep going that way, you
Yeah.
get pictures of every nook and cranny of the house.
Okay, but I'm going to show you what they say you were paying every month and how you stopped paying. According to them, you started to run a balance as early as March of the previous year by not paying the electric or not paying all of it or still owing a little bit of it. And sometimes it's not much of a balance. It's $100, $137, $154. But then you start getting in the hole in October, where you're $1,400 in the hole. In November, you're $2,800 in the hole. In December, you're $300 and that's giving you credit for the $800. In December, you're $3,700 in the hole. Then by the end in January, You're $5,000 in the hole. They give you credit for most all of the security deposit and most all of your last month's rent, and then that brings down your balance to $3,000 something, or the $3,000 that they're suing for. Right. So you tell me then, why don't you have proof of what you did pay if you're going to dispute what the payment is?
I didn't know that it was going to come to this.
You know the position you put me in when you don't
I understand that, and I didn't know the position. It's just that I was talking.
You didn't know your landlords wanted you to pay rent, and they were going to sue you for it? During the course of the time that you lived there, did you have an okay relationship with them?
With who?
All of them, both of them.
It was okay enough for Steve or Craig to bring over his work.
You don't know which one's which either? It was okay enough for what?
Okay enough for Craig to bring his work to my house.
What does that mean, his work to your house?
Objection, relevance.
I don't know until I hear it. There's no jury here. Go ahead.
He brought his, I guess he has a private escort business, and he brought two of them over to my house.
I can't tell you how much I want to hear this, so stop talking. He what?
He has an escort business, and he brought two of his girls to my house.
Two women who are escorts to your house?
Two young women, and introduced them to us as their vaginas.
Yes.
And that's when I was like, I just didn't want to deal with these guys anymore. I was.
Well, that's fine, except you didn't move out of your moral principle, lady.
Well,
you just stayed there and didn't pay rent, you know? Do you have an escort service?
No, I do not.
Oh, I know. I thought I had.
Did you bring two women there and said, these are my body parts?
No, I did not.
Absolutely a lie.
All right, what are you showing me a picture of?
No pictures.
No, what are you? Oh, this is the text. Okay. Were you there? You were there when that happened?
Yes, I was.
What did he say to you, though? Like, what's there to say? What did he say?
He walked in and said...
Where did you get the idea that it's an escort service and not just a bad joke and he had two friends?
Because he has a website.
And what's?
It's the Get Wet Girls.
The what?
Out of stores.
How do you know that? How did you find out that he had that?
Because he asked me if I wanted a job.
Ah. How'd you feel about that?
Didn't feel good.
What did you say to him?
I didn't say anything.
That's not true either.
I think my husband would have a thing or two to say if somebody asked me if I wanted to be.
We tried keeping it on the cool just because he was our landlord, so we didn't want to start any issues.
Here's you. It would be nice if I could get things worked out. When is this? January. You'll be paid up and beyond, so we will see. I mean, you keep talking about paying them and that you're coming into money now, and now that you're not supporting your kid and her husband, that, you know.
But since then, my clients died not too long after that.
But that's not a defense. I mean, when you're telling me I don't know the money, and then I say, prove you don't know the money. You say, well, I have no proof that I don't know the money. And then they say, look, I got proof that she acknowledges she owes us money. And then we see the proof where you're saying in January, I owe you money. You can't tell me that you don't owe them November and December and all the other stuff that they're saying, because you not only have zero proof, I have proof that you're lying.
That's off my the $3,000, the money, the first, last, and deposit that I had given him. I was living there those last couple months.
Honey, you are not texting back to them, I don't owe you money. You still have my last month and security to credit to all that. You're saying, I know I owe you money, I owe you money, I owe you money.
Those were on phone conversations.
Yeah, that could totally contradict what you put in writing, right? I think you know that you owe the money. And whether you know you owe the money or you sincerely feel that you don't, based on everything I'm listening to, I find as follows. I'm not going to allow you to deduct the $320 because the $320 you don't have proof of the damages for. So I am going to order you to pay $2,680 to the plaintiffs. That's my judgment. And that's all three of you, by the way. That's my verdict. $2,680 verdict for the plaintiffs against all three defendants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here come the three defendants out of here on the losing end of this case. Reaction to this verdict from the judge?
I don't agree with it.
I don't agree either. It's something was missing between point
Step
A
up a
and
little.
B. Something was missing between point A and B, and I was so nervous I just couldn't get it across. I understood that I did owe some money, but the $3,600 was coming off of the last two.
What has this done to the relationship here between you and your daughter and your family, all this?
Well, as much as they tried to, create a this tension between us, we get stronger with each situation, and
You
we
say
always
it made you
arise better.
stronger, and you say what?
It made us wiser.
Wiser. So you're wiser now? Okay. All right. Head right around the corner there. All right, so these guys come out here. Which one's the tall one, and who's the short one here? The short
I'm
one?
Stephen.
You're the short one. All right, so you satisfied with what you got out of this?
I am satisfied.
All right, and you, the tall one? What?
I'm very satisfied. They owed us the money, and
All right. Where did they come up with the story about the escort service? Who were the two girls you brought over that one time?
friends of mine.
Friends, right?
That was it.
Okay. And so did they just make that up out of thin air, just like that?
Pretty much, yes. I do not own an escort service, period.
Okay, Harvey?
Okay, this is just a truism. You never give your landlord cash without getting some proof that you've paid the money. It is the oldest trick in the book where a landlord will say, I never got the money, and if you can't prove that you paid it, you are going to have to pay twice.